Hi there, my name is Dana. I'm the co-founder and CEO of YeshID. Today I'm going to walk you through a quick demo of the YeshID product. We are an identity and access management solution designed to help make it simple for you to manage who has access to what without forcing you to switch your current IDP, which might be Google, Microsoft, or Okta. So at the heart of everything that we do, we have something called the access grid. And this provides an accurate and real-time view into your people and all of your applications and who has access to what. Your goal, of course, is to fill all of this out by connecting YeshID to your directories, to your applications, and pulling in your people and managing all of this from one spot. This is what we do behind the scenes. In order to do that, the first thing that we suggest you do is plug in your directory. So in this case, we use Google pretty primarily, but you can plug it into Microsoft, you can plug it into Okta as well. So if you look into this, we pull in the people from the directory screen. Pretty easy, it takes about 30 seconds, and you can see who is active and what directories they're actually synced into. The next thing that we have you do is put in your applications. Now, YeshID is really different in this sense where a lot of other identity and access management solutions only allow you to connect or bring in applications that you can manage via SAML or SCIM. Yesh is not this way. We know that it is really difficult for anybody to have the most perfect stack where you have all of your applications using SAML or SCIM. So we encourage you to import in your application list as is. You can either paste it in here or you can upload your CSV of your list that you might have in a financial document or something like that. Or the other thing that you can do is add your application. Here you can type it in. You can decide who your technical owners are. These are the people in your company that own that application. The next thing that we tell folks to do is take a quick look at your shadow application. So especially if you're on Google or Microsoft, you know that a lot of your users are probably logging in and using a lot of applications that you might not even be aware of. They just put it on a credit card and they're using it, and you're sharing your Google data directly to that application. Typically, what I tell folks to do is look at the restricted scopes, and you can see if these apps are already managed. You can see here, Ample Market, we're managing, but in Apollo, we're not managing it. And they actually have some pretty invasive scopes here. And you might want to do something like, well, have a conversation with the person that's using it and add it as a managed application, or you might want to revoke access. But either way, this gives you a view into what your users are connecting to, and more importantly, the applications that are connecting into your Google or Microsoft environments that have access to your workspace. The next thing that we suggest you do is kind of backfill in who has access to these applications. Now, the easiest way to do this, of course, is that if you have the cream of the crop integration, like SCIM, you can go into integration management, you can choose SCIM integration type, and you can populate the information, and YeshID will pull in all of those users. However, Yesh has a different approach here as well, which is you might have just a regular API that you can connect to. And so Yesh gives you the ability to use a custom API. You can pull in all of this data, you can preview it, and we will attempt to figure out pagination for that API, the mapping for that API, so that you can pull in all of those fields as easily as possible. We give the ability also for you to be able to see the JSON in case our AI isn't doing it properly, but we create that integration for you on the spot. Once we've imported in the users, you'll be able to see that in the account setting. So over here, you can see that we've got a lot of things that are connecting that are human. So you can see that they're linked to people here, and we will figure out like this account belongs to this YeshID owner, or non-human. These are bots that are connecting into your environment. So that's one way you can connect. The other way is that if you have an application, let's say it has no API whatsoever, there's no way you're going to be able to connect it. The other option we give you, let's say our Chase business account, right here, you have the ability to import in from screenshots. So you can drag or drop screenshots from that application that says who has access to it. It's a really nice, easy way for you to backfill those applications, or you can upload from a CSV. You can also manually add it. So YeshID makes it extremely easy regardless of the license type, for you to manage everything through one process. Probably the most important thing to note is that a technical owner is the person that is ultimately responsible for that app and has admin access. If you cannot have the request to add or remove or list the users go through YeshID, we can always route the request to the technical owner and ask them to add a user, remove a user to these applications. The other thing that we finally have is the ability for you to add in HRIS systems into YeshID. And once you do that, you can decide for your automated YeshID people creation, you might use Gusto or remote.com or something like that. You can map the fields from that HRIS system into YeshID. So you can add custom user fields here, and then you can design things like triggers. So this allows you to be able to, when you see somebody new that's coming in, you might be able to run a new trigger, run an onboarding or an offboarding task list based on information that you see from the HRIS system. All right, let me talk about our workflows. So we have the ability to allow you to design multiple onboarding, offboarding, or audit templates. So for example, I can very easily create an onboarding template here, and you can see here that I can create a user. This will be automatically done by YeshID, and then follow a list of steps that are repeatable, which is really important for your onboarding experience. And this could be called my onboarding for a salesperson or something like that. And I can add different things into this list very easily that are automated functions within YeshID. It's pretty straightforward. It's like those task lists that you typically use. The other thing that you can do is have an offboarding list. This will allow you to be able to do things like locking an account or removing access on off hours automatically, and for compliance purposes, allow you to track that you really complete the offboarding for one of your departed employee. Probably the most important part of this is we have a function called remove user from all applications. This will take information from our access grid and populate a list of the applications that that user has access to, so you can make sure that you're fully removing them from all of those applications. Running workflows are fairly easy. They can either be triggered from an HRIS system, or you can go here, start a workflow, onboarding. You can add the first name, the last name, fill out this information, choose the date and time, start date, maybe there's an end date reminder that you need to have, and this will help you manage that process consistently. Finally, well, what view do my end users have? Well, your end users can actually have a view when they log into YeshID. All of this stuff under organization is something that they cannot see, but what you'll see here is they have a list of their chiclets, view that you might be familiar with our other identity and access management providers, and they can request an application from here. They can choose what that application is. They can say the reason for the request. They can request what role they want. And in this one particular, you could do how long you want the application for. Oh, I only want it for a short period of time, or I want it from an unlimited point of time. And you can submit this request. All of these requests will go through YeshID. It will either be handled automatically or it will be handled by the human that might need to do it on the other end. All of this will update the access grid, and you will have a complete log for compliance purposes of those access requests. You can also have this same screen show up in Slack and in Teams if you want your end users to use it through those tools. The last thing that you can do here is run an audit. So I have a running audit here right now that you can see. I have an engineering audit. So you can see here that I can pick the audit that I want to run through. Now, GitHub, for instance, if I want to open this audit, we already are connected to GitHub through an integration. And you can see here that I've got the users in the system, and I can decide who is supposed to have access and who isn't supposed to have access. So in this circumstance, I can say review access, they should have it or they shouldn't have it or what have you. And then finally, what you can do after this is if you decide to remove access and say, well, these people should not have access, I'm going to remove in sales or something like that. And then what you can see is when you go to the next page, what will end up happening is, let's do this one too, in sales. So great. So what will end up happening here is that once I've selected this and I've reviewed all the accounts and I've said, oh, all these are fine as well. When I press next, I will have the tasks to remind me that I need to remove these people from this system. Again, if this app is completely connected, you'll actually be prompted to press a button and YeshID will automatically remove those users. But if not, it will be routed to the person that needs to do the work, and then you can certify this audit. So that is a quick overview of YeshID. If you have any questions or would like to learn more, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to give you a demo and answer any questions that you have. Thank you.